All right, Zatima fans. Now I gotta say, week 3, another duo of banger episodes. No complaints here, really. I guess you could say it's more like a bit of frustration in terms of the paternity of Michael, because I can't fault Zatima season 4 for seemingly trying to course correct the mistakes of the past from Zatima season 1 and Sistas season 5 onward. But it was a bit frustrating seeing these characters finally address something that should have been handled back in Sistas season 4 regarding a court mandated DNA test. Why has that not been done? Whatever. But either way, 10 out of 10. Look, as I said last week, just the synergy of Team Taylor is what sold these episodes for me. Especially after the, let's be real, forced drama and tension between Zach and Fatima in the Sistas mid-season finale. Now, this was again season 4, episode 5, Lose to Win. So Zach is making breakfast for bed and, breakfast in bed for Fatima. And look, I don't know about you. While that does sound romantic, let me break it down to you. Let me give you some Jeremy insight into how I do things. Personally, in the morning, I don't even open my mouth until I am in the bathroom to brush my teeth, floss, and use mouthwash. Not a piece of food will touch these lips until I get the stench of morning breath and the feeling of after sleep drool out of my mouth. I am not touching any food until after I've, again, gone to the bathroom, brushed my teeth and whatnot, and specifically wash my hands. So breakfast in bed, to me, doesn't sound all that romantic. Second thing, I refuse under any circumstance to eat food in my bedroom, let alone my bed. Okay, now when I was at my mom's house, yeah, I had my desk in my bedroom, so I would eat in there. But in terms of eating actual food, heck to the no. I don't want no ants, and I ain't trying to invite any unwelcome guests, rodents, or whatever in my bed. Heck to the absolute no. Now, hey, it looks good on paper. That food looked good. Except when Zach ate them eggs, he spit them right out. But either way, I just appreciate the gesture because, like I said before, just seeing Zach and Fatima with this kind of energy, it just brought me back to the good old days. I got to give Courtney props because he is really recapturing the energy that made fans fall in love with these two in the first place. I don't care if you get sick of me saying that in my videos. I will give praise where praise is due. And also the chemistry between Crystal and Naval back to how it was, in my opinion. Now, of course, Fatima is dead sleep. And you could tell these were the hormones and the pregnancy talking. And it's like somebody said, I bet she's having a boy because Fatima's mean as hell. I'm like, yep, just like my sister was. So, yeah, she's probably having a boy, little Zach Jr. So, Zach stupidly jumps across the bed, which I'm like, there are so many reasons why you shouldn't have done that. 1, that whole tray of food. 2, Fatima's humongous baby bump. Like, even if you did effortlessly hop across, your weight slamming against the mattress would make that plate fly up. So then Fatima just goes off on him. And so I'm like, Zach, what are you doing all that food? Well, I know you like options and whatnot. So I just brought everything. What is this? My 600-pound life? Fatima's just a cranky pregnant woman. I don't know why, but Crystal is bringing it with this performance here. So she's like, Zach's like, what? You want to fight? I don't want to fight, Zach. What, you want to kick my ass? Yeah, I just might. And then she goes to the bathroom because they got to get ready for court. And I think what made this episode work was that they had a comedic opening. A bit of romance and comedy. And then that would lead to the seriousness of the court situation. Now, there are so many things to be said about this court case. Now, first of all, props to the casting team, because the actress that plays Great Aunt Patty, they found sorry, my voice cracked. I was just blown away. they found someone who is like a dead ringer for Heather in terms of being an older relative. Like, good grief. Like, when I first saw her, I mean, yeah, we saw her in the trailer, but to actually see her during the episode, I'm like, dang, she do look like she could be one of Heather's relatives. And what really sold me was the actual performance, because at first you have like this older woman who's genuinely concerned for the well-being of her great nephew. But then that takes a turn when child support money is involved, because then it's like, good gosh, she is a dead ringer in terms of Heather regarding her personality and whatnot. So yet again, I got to give props to the casting team for pulling someone who could be a real life relative of Heather and it would be believable. So Fatima comes in, and I just love, the way she's waddling and how Zach pulls out her chair and everything. I just love it. I love it. So Fatima is there not as Zach's counsel, because she is a paralegal, but it's pointed out by the judge not to give any legal or, some sort of consent because you're not counsel. But she is listed as his fiance and character witness. Now, this pretty much all but confirms that, yeah, even at this point, despite working with celebrity clients, which we will get to, Fatima is still in law school. And she's also not a full-fledged attorney. So at this point in the timeline, yeah. So it makes sense, because last week when I read the synopsis for episode 5, and when I did a video a few days ago about since when is Fatima working with celebrity clients? Yeah, she's not a full-blown attorney yet, but she is definitely climbing the ranks at the law firm. Which, again, I cannot wait to get to that part of the episode review. Now, the reason this custody battle is happening is because great aunt Patty, who doesn't know doesn't know Zach and Fatima at all, but you gotta be honest here. When you're looking at their track record, you can see why there would be concerns for Michael. Violent tendencies, financial fraud, great callback to the earlier seasons of Sistas and Zatima season 1 with the FCC, when I forget her name, but I know Paris Jackson was the actress, and I loved her the moment I saw her. Basically, where she came over to the house to interrogate Zach, but he was able to, use the advice Jake/Bryce gave him in order to ward off the FCC. And then from there, the video, and I love the continuity here, the video of Zach beating down Jeremiah in the last season. And most recently, the incident with the shootout at Zach and Fatima's home at the end of season 3. Now, there's also the matter of the civil suit against Fatima, which was dropped. I'm guessing that was the one that Deja filed because Fatima tore up her apartment, which again, I still don't know why Fatima didn't face consequences for that, but whatever. Now, from there, we learned that, and I want to make sure I heard this right. So, Aunt Patty was the person who seemingly had custody of Michael after Heather was deemed unfit to be his caretaker anymore. And before Zach won full custody in Sistas season 7, I guess Michael was with Aunt Patty. And during this time, the child support was being paid to her, which was $1,000 a month. So from there, the judge checks Fatima when she says insubmissible evidence, but it's like, are you a lawyer? No. And it is not admissible in court. It's like, oh, okay. So, but I love how Fatima kind of gets the last laugh, but I'll get to that in a moment. So from there, Zach talks about, the struggles of being a black man in the court system, saying that he's not fit to take care of his son and whatnot. Thankfully, he had a black male judge who sympathizes with him. So we really get some heartfelt words from Zach in this moment about his past, not being a squeaky clean record, but at the end of the day, he's a good father to his son and he wants to be there and provide for him. And then you could tell Aunt Patty was sort of moved by his words, but also felt like, okay, I need to find a way to counter it because it looks like he's winning sympathy. So she pretty much talks about how the family went wrong with Heather and trying to make amends by raising Michael right is her main priority. So the thing is, Zach can get full custody once again if he goes to anger management courses. And sadly, it's not something that's going to be like, hey, you get full custody of Michael, but you got to take these classes. Essentially meaning, hey, Michael will be released to go back to your home with Miss Wilson, but you got to go to anger management classes. No, it's to get full custody, you have to go through these anger management classes, and during this time frame, you'll have supervised visitation. So basically, Aunt Patty will still have custody of Michael. And that's when Patty speaks up about wanting a boost from $1,000 to $3,500 per month in child support. And here's when this was the moment where it's like, yep, this is the Heather coming out of her, where she's like, oh yeah, that $3,500 is nothing. Truth be told, we ought to get more. We see how you living. And also, after these two get married, will Miss Wilson's income be brought into the equation so we can get even more child support? But then Fatima says like, no, that's not how it works. And then the judge rules in her favor. They're like, yeah, that's right. That's not how it works. And you can just tell by the look on her face that she's like, dang it. So from there, that's when it's also brought up that once Fatima's baby is born, then they could amend child support yet again. So essentially it's like, hey, we could possibly even lower the amount once Fatima's baby is born. So for now, the case is going to be followed up in 6 months. And it's like, wait, what? So that's when Fatima's like, oh, how about this? I need a court-ordered paternity test. And it's like, wait, what? Because if you look at the file, Zachary Taylor's name isn't on the birth certificate, nor has there been an official court-ordered DNA test. And then she admits that there was a DNA test, but it was at-home kit. We want a legit one. So the judge mentions how that was a court oversight. And I'm like, now I'm no expert in child support court, but something tells me that that is a massive red flag. If a woman drags a man to court claiming a kid is their son, but there are some glaring red flags involving the birth certificate and the DNA test, yeah, because that's when they decide, okay, well, we're going to follow up on this case because we're short-staffed and everything. 4 weeks until the DNA test. But until then, anger management and whatnot. Now, from there, I think the standout was when the judge asked, is Michael's DNA or paternity in question? And then when Fatima looked at Zach and he said yes. And I'm like, oh, so I was surprised he had no hesitation. But I guess seeing how money hungry Patty was, he knew like, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and get this test done because this is ridiculous. So something tells me that even if the test comes back and Michael isn't his son, Zach would be hurt, but I think he'd just be more focusing on the family he has with Fatima, which is all well and good. Because even though I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they opted to take care of Michael, I'd rather them just, because despite her being seemingly money hungry, I don't think Aunt Patty is a bad person. And by bad person, I mean someone that would abuse Michael the same way Heather did. So if Michael has to go with her, oh well. But yeah, I just feel like this DNA test thing. I'm pissed because this was something that should have been done a long time ago. And here's the thing. It was an at-home DNA test, but Fatima took it to the forensics team at the law firm. But at the same time, if you go back to Sistas season 4, when Zach got arrested and Jake bailed him out. Remember Jake? Pre-Bryce world. Jake bailed Zach out. And he paid, because he paid like, what was it, a $32,000 back child support. And then the DA said there will be a court mandated DNA test before, we move further with the child support and whatnot. And we never heard of the court ordered DNA. Heather popped up like in season 5 of Sisters. And this is when Tamara was introduced as a distraction because Hayden was going to rep Heather to get as much money from Zach as possible. And she mentioned like, you saw the DNA test, right? And I'm thinking, well, are you talking about the at-home test? Because I believe they were brought up in this episode. Like, hey, you're looking at the DNA test right now, Judge. That was an at-home test. So this court-ordered test will probably happen in the back half of the season or towards the end because 4 weeks is a long time. But either way, I'm just happy we're finally getting follow-up on this because people have been wondering for a long time, man, was that test faulty? Did Hayden tamper with it or what? So that's when Patty tries to have the last word about that was a low blow. Low blow. You literally tried to shake down even more money. Like after they get married, can we get even more? And I'm like, man, shut up. Talking about some low blow. Side note: if Zach isn't the father, does he get all the money he's paid back? I don't know. But from there, that's when the episode takes a different turn, where we leave the courtroom and Fatima's at work. Now, I did not catch her name because I do not believe we heard it in the episode. But essentially, the fine looking, I'm sorry, she fine though, the fine looking attorney in the red dress who works in the entertainment division of the law firm. And I didn't look at the end credits to catch her name either. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you did. But here was just amazing, just stuff. So she's going on not maternity leave. She's going to take a leave for a couple of months due to health-related issue. And before Fatima goes on maternity, she wants her to work with one of her clients named Sage, who's in universe a big deal, the new queen of R&B. And it'll be a situation that will involve some crazy work hours. But the thing is, I know you work as a criminal defense attorney because you want to help your own. But at the same time, I hear you singing from time to time. And honestly, I feel like with your personality, you might be better equipped to work for the entertainment side of things. Like, what do you think? And the thing is, if this goes well, then maybe you ought to just work for me. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if Fatima started working for her and the other, side of the firm with the entertainment, that means she wouldn't be tethered to Andy. And I would be so happy, especially based off the way Andy's been treating her this season on Sistas. So Sage is trying to, sue her father/manager, and Fatima agrees. And the thing is, Sage is in the other room right now. So, the action starts. So she goes in there and meets her, and that's when they have a one-on-one. Essentially, her dad is keeping her under conservatorship. I know it's that big word with the C that was used to describe Britney Spears and her dad. But either way, basically her father wants to legally keep her under his thumb until she's 30. And this is just a testament to the fact that Fatima might not be a full-fledged attorney, but this woman knows what she's doing. She can look at a contract and instantly spot the flaws in it. So we break it down about her father being way too controlling, and she wants her freedom. And with the upcoming album, her second album coming out, she doesn't want him to be a part of it because he does everything, picks out what she wears, the songs, everything. And she likes Fatima though. It's like, you ought to be in my circle. I'm like, oh snap, a circle of stars, not that crappy toxic sister circle. And she mentions, like, do you know a place that's very intimate, private, where I can do like a listening party for my first single? And Fatima's like, I know a place. Now I'm thinking, if we go back to season 2, that club where Fatima sang Fallen, and I think Belinda doesn't own the club, but I think she does MC stuff there. So I wonder if that's the club she's talking about. And Fatima and Sage just hit it off. And my favorite part was after Sage leaves, the entertainment attorney talks with her about how it went. And that's when Fatima mentions the listening party. Listening party? I didn't know about it. Oh, well, only few know it's very exclusive. Oh, exclusive, huh? See, I knew you'd be a good fit. The way this woman showed interest and excitement at the prospect of Fatima making good with a new client, and off the rip being informed about something that even she didn't know. There wasn't a speck of haterade or jealousy on her face. It was pure happiness for Fatima hitting it off with a new client. Andy's hating behind. I don't even want to talk about Andy, but I'm just talking about the stark differences between those who are happy for you, those who bring you up, versus those who try to hype you up, but when they see you actually moving up, they want to hate you. If nothing else, they want to beat you back down. But this woman came into Fatima's office. You know what? I see what you're doing here, but I think you're better suited for something else. And not only that, she gave Fatima an opportunity. Fatima didn't hesitate, and she was, pretty much pushed out of the bird's nest, not because she couldn't fly. You know, I think this other woman knew Fatima would be a good fit, and it turned out to be the right choice. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Fatima, say goodbye to Andy and the criminal law stuff. Go to entertainment. This is way better. So that's when the episode ends with a phone call. Zach and Fatima talking about how she's going to be working late because of Sage and whatnot. And he's like, what? So he's happy for her. So basically, don't wait up. Now, from there, that's when Preston says, hey, happy hour? Well, Fatima got to work late, so why not? That's when Bryce invites himself. And this is when he says one of the most troubling lines of the episode. Yeah, I mean, if I don't go to happy hour with you two, I'm just going to be sitting outside of Angela's house. Angela needs to get a restraining order against this man. We had a 4-month time skip, and something tells me this is something that he did on the regular from episode 1 to where we are now and 4 months later. I mean, like I said, when we had episode 2 and Angela opened the door, mind you, this is when it said 4 months later. Remember when she was on the phone with Sean and she agreed to go on a date, and then she answered the door and Bryce was there and he's like, wait, was that Sean? Are you still talking to him? That is a massive red flag right there. Seriously. But the final scene is when Tony yet again drops an envelope off at that woman's door, but the woman pops out saying, young man, who are you? But he doesn't turn around. Tony, don't go back around there anymore. You're going to get your butt caught. But yeah, overall, very good episode. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.